Yeah.
Blessings, blessings all.
Hmm.
Sending love to everyone out there all over the universe.
Oh,
Happy
really?
to be with you again, Miss Jessie Johnson.
I'm happy to be with you, Srikala and Jesse.
Awesome. We're here again,
We are.
talking about epic things. Talking about epic things. Blessings all. Welcome. Uh, letting in Miss Johnson here on Instagram. We're going live on Instagram.
Yeah,
We're
let's
live
do
on
it.
YouTube. We're live on
Woo!
Facebook via Jessie Johnson Coaching. Hey,
Yeah.
hey, Ishwari. Blessings, blessings.
Hurry, hurry.
Ishwari is in the place, holding it down. So good to see you, Ishwari. I miss you. Miss your
Hmm.
energy. Miss your vibe. I'm so jealous that you have that Kavita.
You can go up and get one, and I will entertain everyone while you do.
I might just have to do that in a little bit, but I like being
It's
with
tasty.
everyone and with you.
I like being with
So,
you too.
yes, indeed.
If y'all are watching on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, just say hi. Tell us where you are, what you're doing, how you're doing, how's your heart. It's been a
Yes.
big, big week.
Big week.
Big week.
Big week.
Yeah. Did some I think we're doing some really good work. Don't you?
I think we're doing great work. I think actually we're doing great work, and also we're doing good work at feeling okay when things get all tangled.
Yeah.
Uh, I think we got a little glitch on StreamYard.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. StreamYard's having a hard time today. There we go. Welcome back.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're having a hard time today. Sorry, we're having a hard time with StreamYard. We're doing a good job, even though we're having a hard time sometimes.
Yeah. And even in
Yeah,
that sense of what you just said, you know, we do have hard times.
totally.
And I think in our relationship,
Oh,
and
yeah.
this is even intensifying how
Right?
we experience life, you know,
Yeah.
because not only do we navigate our relationship, but we also navigate, right now we're navigating the situation of a pandemic, and also uh, Black lives, and
Yep.
also just everything's intensifying, speeding up right now. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
good to
it's
stay
very
clear.
intense. It's been very intense. I think this is the most intense time I've lived through culturally, societally. I feel very um impacted by everything that's going on, and very grateful to be alive right now. I feel really grateful to be alive right now. I see that we're still navigating tech issues. Is there anything
I'm
that
gonna have
I
to move my audio over to Instagram because Instagram is crushing it right now.
great.
StreamYard is having a hard time. Yes.
Those of you that are here while Shree's navigating that, I'll just share that Shree did an amazing live on Instagram today with Govindas. And I think you can, I haven't actually confirmed, but I believe that they uploaded that to their IGTV. So if you go to Bhakti Yoga Shala on Instagram and go to their IGTV, you'll see the interview that Govindas did with Srikala. And it was really potent and powerful and helpful and different. Like I learned things about Shri that I didn't know. Um, and I learned things about this movement that I didn't know.
Mm.
And it was really helpful. So I just recommend that if you're looking for more words of wisdom, I think that's a really good place to go. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga Shala,
Yeah.
Govindas. Uh, yeah, it should be up on his IGTV, and I'm gonna repost it also on mine, so we'll have
Okay, great. Great.
that flow going.
Great. Yeah, let's repost these on my Instagram too.
And we spoke about many different topics, but I think the focus was the rising tension with race and the evolution that we're experiencing there. And the topic of the Bhagavad Gita came up, which is
Yeah.
something we've really been excited to bring into this conversation.
Yeah, because y'all touched on it for like 2 minutes, but I want to talk about it for like an hour.
Yeah, right. There's so much. There's so much
Yeah.
there.
You're coming through
What is
loud
the
and clear.
Bhagavad
It's
Gita?
great. What is the Bhagavad Gita? So actually this is even more fun to talk about. Can I tell this? Can I talk about the Bhagavad Gita?
Yes, that's why I'm asking you.
So
Because you're saying Bhagavad Gita, but I'm sure not everybody
yeah, that's fair.
knows what that is.
Not everybody knows. So there's this, like, in ancient Greece, there was the Iliad and the Odyssey, right? These epic, and when I say epic, I mostly mean really long, like books that were really instrumental in establishing Western culture. Really, like they're given a lot of credit for establishing Western culture, Western literature. And in India, the same is true, but about some different epic books. And one of those is called the Mahabharat or the Mahabharata. And so that's a very, like, think Bible or multiple Bibles long, right? Like it's a big book about the kind of, I want to say not in a negative way, but like the soap opera, the drama of the lives of the Pandavas, which is this family with 5 brothers. And it just like goes through the trials and tribulations and successes and breakthroughs and dramas of their lives. And in and of itself, I wouldn't say that the Mahabharata is necessarily a spiritual book. But inside the Mahabharata, like maybe 3/4 through the book, is a war. There's a huge battle on the fields of Kurukshetra. Can you say that word better than I can, Sri?
Kurukshetra. Doesn't matter. Give us the
Pretty
juice.
good.
Give the listeners the juice.
And in my mind, I just picture this like huge, like desert plain. I don't actually know what it looks like, but I just picture that like huge desert that you could actually go to now if you wanted to in India.
I don't think I've ever been to a desert.
On this battlefield, before the battle begins, that this very spiritual story happens. And that spiritual story is called the Bhagavad Gita. And it is, if for some reason it always has had a big impact on me to understand that the Mahabharata is like, if it's this big, if the Mahabharata is this big, the Bhagavad Gita is like this big inside it. It's a very small part of it. But the Bhagavad Gita in and of itself, do you have your copy with you?
I have digital.
Oh, okay. So this is my favorite copy, the Yaneshwari. Pretty big book. Pages are very, very thin. And they're very dense pages, right? Like multiple, right? So anyway, just to put things into perspective. So the Bhagavad Gita is a spiritual text that's so common in India. It's a little bit like Gideon's Bible in hotel rooms or something like that. Like it's everywhere. Every Indian knows this book, this story. Every Indian also knows the Mahabharata also.
Yes.
And the whole thing is 18 chapters of a conversation between God and his disciple. Krishna, God, and his disciple, friend, devotee, Arjuna. And in these 18 chapters, Krishna just gives the nectar, gives the juice, gives the instruction. Because Arjuna, who is the best warrior, the most glorious, the most like loyal, the most good, the most wholesome, the most wonderful, right? In every way, probably the most handsome, Arjuna is so good. so deeply good. He's such a good, and also like very, very good at what he does as a warrior. He's never lost a battle. He's never failed in his duty. He's never questioned his orders, right? He's also like been a good soldier as well as a good leader. But this particular battle, he's facing his family. He's got family on both sides, but his enemy, the enemy that he's supposed to fight, is made up of his teachers and friends and cousins and loved ones. And it's a matter of honor. Like, that is still there. It's not an arbitrary war. It's not an arbitrary battle, but it's a very emotionally challenging one for Arjuna. And he, as the battle is about to begin, like all the armies on both sides have lined up and they're facing off. And Arjuna is there with Krishna, who's his charioteer. And he just throws down his weapons and he's like, I'm not fighting. Like, fuck this. I am not doing this. I am not going into this. I'm not going to fight these people that I love. No way. I'm done. And when I first read this, when I first learned this story and read the Bhagavad-Gita, I had a really hard time with it because I was a pacifist. And I was like, great. Like, why should he fight those people, right?
Yes.
And then begins the Bhagavad-Gita, where Krishna explains to Arjuna the nature of the soul, the nature of our dharma, what it means to basically like how to live. It's an instruction manual on how to live. Explains how everything in the universe works, spiritually, materially, everything. And he's doing that to set Arjuna up to do his dharma, to live his dharma, to do his duty, to live his purpose, which includes fighting this battle with his full heart. And after the Bhagavad Gita is over, of course, the Mahabharat continues, and they do fight the battle, and Arjuna's side wins. But there's terrible loss of life on both sides. Very messy. It's very messy. And so a huge part of the cognitive dissonance for me, and I think this is very common for spiritual folks, particularly in the beginning of their journey, when we come into contact with this Bhagavad Gita, is like, wait, what? Like, how is a battle the spiritual thing? How is fighting spiritual? How is conflict spiritual? How is that much loss, that much mess? How is that spiritual? And I'm about to turn it over to Sri because I feel like what came up this morning in your conversation with Govindas was the connection between what's happening now in the world around race, around looking at the truth of what we're doing and not doing around race and injustice, and the invitation to stand up and fight is upon us. And I know you're still, oh, yeah, we're having a hard time technically. Okay, I will pause for a second to just get a little check-in. Sri, can you hear me on Instagram?
I have my headphones plugged into Instagram now because this black screen means, like, I don't know what that black screen is. I've never seen that on StreamYard before, so
I don't.
There's definitely Erica says the sound is awesome.
Okay.
So I guess
I think it might just be you, Sri, your computer.
I can see myself pretty clearly.
I see both of us clearly on all platforms. Erica, just let us know, okay? Let us know if you lose us, one of us or both of us. Like for me, Sri just froze. I'm curious if that happened for everybody else on StreamYard.
Continue. Where'd you leave off, Jesse?
I was just basically saying that the mess of the battlefield, yes. the truth that this messy battlefield. Oh, okay, that's okay. Erica says I'm choppy. Let me see if I can change something. I don't know if I change anything, Sri, that it'll help. Let's see.
You know, sometimes this is just the reality of the internet. Sometimes it
Yes.
just doesn't want to work as clearly.
Yeah, I think we just keep going and let our people tell us if it's tweaking.
Yeah, exactly.
So the last thing that I said was just making the bridge that this morning you and Govindas were talking about the correlation, and to me it just felt really rich that the mess of Kurukshetra is gives us information about the mess of our social landscape right now, and that the demand of Krishna to fight, the call to Arjuna to stand up and do his dharma, to stand up and fight, even though it's messy, even though people will die, even though people he loves will die, that is actually what's called for, that's the honorable thing to do. And when I heard you guys say it, it just felt like, oh, this is rich. There's support and energy and technology and history that we can learn from here.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited to hear you talk about. I also just
we're talking. That's what we're doing. I feel like it's really a beautiful thing that Krishna could see what was going on, even though Arjuna couldn't see it. So I think that that's a big feature to be able to see what's going on underneath, you know, especially in a time like right now, 2020, June 2020, and everything that we've experienced in the last few months, major uncertainty.
Yeah.
Major uncertainty. This pandemic came through. Where did it come from? Some like animal possibly in China. Like, what does that even mean? Like, you're not even giving us any information as to what is attacking us, you know? So it's like, it's a major space of uncertainty that us humans are being asked to be with and to experience. What does it feel like to be in an uncertain reality? And you know, with that uncertain reality comes a mission to learn how to see what's underneath more often. Like, we can see with our two eyes, we can hear with our ears, we can smell with our nose, but what else is going on? Is there something else going on? Is there another sense that we can use to understand what's going on underneath it, you know? And I think that the cool part about the Bhagavad-Gita is Krishna was coming forth as someone who could see underneath the whole scenario. And Krishna was like, underneath this whole scenario, you are a warrior. I sent you here to fight. This is in the Bhagavad Gita, this is God saying, I, the divine person, sent you here to battle.
I want you to pause there.
Okay.
I just feel like I want to like really just take a moment with that.
Take it. Why? Why do you want to take a moment with that, Jesse? What stands out to you?
Krishna and Arjuna have a very special relationship, right? It's sort of the ideal relationship between God and human in my mind. It's like, so that frankly, that's part of it, because there's a lot of mercy in that even the most perfect human devotee of God still like gets confused and lost and needs some support, right? That to me, I'm always like, oh, give me those stories. Like, I want all the stories about how it's natural, normal, even Krishna's mercy when we get lost and confused. And then the power of the language that you just used, that Krishna said to Arjuna, I sent you here to fight, feels very potent to me. That he sent all of, like, there's a couple pieces. One is that God is real. Two is that God sent us all here. Immediately I feel massive relief when I know that. Like, okay, I was sent here. It's not an accident. It's not like haphazard. It's not arbitrary. There's a reason. God sent us here for a reason. That's like kind of the same thing, but I'm just going to emphasize it. Like, God sent us here for a reason, and we are living that reason already. We're living that reason. And then this additional possibility that Arjuna, which I don't think is true for everyone, but for Arjuna, that God sent Arjuna here to fight, and not just fight anyone, but to fight his family, to fight that specific battle. It feels very like when the other side of this for me, the sort of the thing that this is the medicine for me, is the feeling that everything that's happening is wrong and bad and shouldn't be happening. And that if we were just doing a better job, it wouldn't be happening. And I mean, I experienced that. That's my experience. And I'm not even, if somebody came on and joined us in this conversation or started commenting and they were like, yeah, that's the truth, I wouldn't even disagree with them. Like, I have no reason to disagree with that. It's fine with me to look at this as like, this is wrong, this is bad, this shouldn't be happening. What I have found in the last, I would say, like 20 years of really looking at this is that just doesn't seem to actually be a very productive line of thought. I get very discouraged. I get very overwhelmed. I get very despairing. I would even say that at moments in my life, I have touched on a kind of suicidal, like, despair when I go that direction. If I feel like things are bad and wrong and shouldn't be happening on this scale, it's very hard to generate the energy to keep going. And so when I heard you say today, just now actually, when I heard you say, Krishna sent Arjuna here to fight, it just felt like it cut through that whole story and flipped my perspective 180. Like, oh, what if God sent us all here to do exactly what we're doing? And in particular, what if God sent us here to have this fight? Even though it's messy, even though it's difficult. It's not my favorite thing to be in conflict with people that I love.
Sure.
I know I'm speaking a lot. I really want to hear from you.
Krishna sent Arjuna, yes, and I feel like Krishna sent all of us, but that doesn't mean that we're all aware of what our purpose is, what our mission is. And so I think that that's the blessing of the Bhagavad-Gita, and that's the blessing of going through such a trial and such an intense reality. Like, oh, wow, a lot of people are going to die here. A lot of people are going to die on this battlefield. And some of them might be my friends and my family. How can I deal with that? What is that?
Mm-hmm.
I would rather not look. I would rather go into the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's something to be said too. Although Krishna sent all of us, although Krishna sent Arjuna to battle, he was actually Krishna's charioteer, actually steering it, like the divine person himself steering the cart.
Mm-hmm.
Still, Arjuna was like, I shall not fight.
Mm-hmm.
And that I shall not fight, not only that I shall not fight, but what was the exact, I'm going to look right now for the exact part of the Bhagavad Gita.
Great.
But not only was it I shall not fight, but it was also I surrender unto you. This was the first time where Arjuna was just like, you know what? I don't know what to do. Please instruct me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was a key feature
mm-hmm.
in the movement of all of this.
Mm.
It says, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. And that's a necessary part, you know, grief. That's a
Mm-hmm.
necessary part,
Mm-hmm.
and we can see uh, everyone right now is getting to experience their grief, whether they are participating in the movement or not. There, a lot of people are getting to experience what it feels like to be sad, to be angry, to be upset about our current situation and wanting more.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that we're all coming to terms with contrast. We're all coming to terms with how to feel every aspect of this.
Trying to fix my tech.
Is your tech messy?
Yeah. I want to hear you talk more. One of the things that I feel like we're talking about two different things, and I would like to, even though we're talking both about the Bhagavad Gita, I feel like I want you to challenge me if you disagree with anything I'm saying, and I want to connect the dots about what I'm saying and what you're saying and keep going.
Well, that
And
was
I
my
also
first
really want to
challenge.
hear you.
My first challenge was that Krishna did send us, but how many people know what they've been sent for?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's the question that everyone is understanding now. More people are
Yeah,
coming to the
exactly.
reality
This is
of, oh,
waking
this is
people
what I've
up.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is what I've been sent here for.
Uh huh.
Uh, hmm. And it wasn't till then that Krishna decided to speak.
When Arjuna asked him.
Yeah, when Arjuna surrendered, when Arjuna like put down his bow, he said, "I should not fight," and he's like, "I'm a surrendered soul unto you now. Please instruct me." And that's when Krishna was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Ah, okay, I'll let you. I'll speak to you now. I'll download this full philosophy that you are the soul. I am the soul. Never was there a time where you did not exist, nor you nor I, nor these kings. Never was there a time where any of these people didn't exist. You know, the soul." Then he starts talking about the soul. The soul has not come into being, does not come into being, will not come into being. He starts just downloading all of this understanding of who you are, who I am, who we are, and I think that that is just like such a beautiful part of the Gita, because it's like a download of actually what is happening right here. What is happening? You are the soul, Arjuna. What are you so upset about? What are you so worried about? It's actually me that's destroying everyone. You know, you're just a part of my, equation. You're just a piece of this puzzle that I have designed. Like your puzzle shop that you like to go to in Colorado,
Yeah.
where they print on the puzzles, that you can go there and they can print your puzzle. Go
Mm-hmm.
there and get your puzzle printed. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like Krishna printed the puzzle. He printed the puzzle, and we are a piece in that puzzle. And it's almost as if someone else is putting us together,
Mm-hmm.
and we all have the opportunity to be a part of the piecing together of it. You know,
That's powerful.
is it? Why?
I think so. I think so, and I can feel you feeling me. I'm like I'm wondering if I should either change my network. If you and I are on the same network, maybe that's the problem, or plug in the Ethernet. What do you think?
Um, go for
Ethernet.
yeah,
Okay. All right. Talk to him, baby. Give him the science.
yeah. I might just sit here and look at them too, and just beam out love to you while I sit here. Mm. You know, today has been a day of massive expansion, and expansion through grief, expansion through feeling the waves of sadness that exist in the world right here, in the world right now. And I feel like it's a treasure to feel this much. It's a treasure to open your heart this much and participate in experiencing what the world is feeling as a way to give more, as a way to love more, as a way to stand in the center of who I am and express that. And on top of that, it's crazy because the team is building. Srikala Music, the team is building. Jesse Johnson's team is building. Jesse now has. We're taking on more clients and we're taking on more team members to kind of build this empire. And at the same time, we have all these clients that we're loving and we're supporting, and we love so much supporting these people that we're taking this walk with. And at the same time, there's a pandemic, and at the same time, there's a massive racial clarity that's coming to fruition. At the same time, uh, there's just so much going on at one time to be present to, and it's a lot. It's a lot, and I love it. We're all here for it. Lily Fangs, one love. Sita Capricorn, blessings. Oh, thanks. Thanks a lot. She just brought me a kavita. I love how casual today is. we're just chilling, being present. Send some questions in, guys. You have some questions about what's going on today? Questions about Black Lives Matter? Questions about spirituality, race, consciousness? We're here to be present for that. We're here to connect with that. Please go back to the puzzle. Erica says, please go back to the puzzle. The puzzle metaphor is really cool because it's we're in the puzzle, but we're not of the puzzle. It's like the puzzle is there, we're pieces of it, and at the same time, there's something going on that's greater than us, that's higher than us, that's working through us. Yeah. It's like, we go outside with masks and we protect ourselves and we protect others through this mask. And at the same time, I feel like I'm indestructible when I go outside. It's important that I feel that. It's important that I feel safe. It's important that I feel protected. It's important that I feel like um, all is well at all points. And at the same time, we take care of it. At the same time, we put our masks on. And so, in that same way, we're all pieces of the puzzle. And we all do the work to actually look at the puzzle and see the pieces and how they fit and see the connections. And at the same time, God made this puzzle so we can actually skip past a lot of hard puzzling work by going straight to the divine. It's like going back to God is like seeing the box. It's like getting to look at the box, the finished box.
Finished box.
You know what I mean? Like you have the box there and you get to cheat. I call it cheating. Jessie doesn't call it cheating. She's like, how else are you supposed to finish the puzzle?
That's not what I say, but I don't think it's cheating.
You go finish the puzzle if you look at the box and see it finished already. Looking at the box is like being with God, because then you can already see the puzzle finished already. All you got to do is go, oh, I see that this piece is here, this piece is there. Just look at all the pieces and put them together. And I think that this is the blessing of consciousness. This is the blessing of doing that work, that meditation, that's that inner cleanse to see what the finished piece looks like, because we can all see the finished piece. The finished piece is already here, guys. We know where this is going.
Yeah, that's right.
We're in a golden age,
Shri,
guys. We're in a golden age.
tell I want to hear you speak about this metaphor more concretely. Like in the current pandemic, rocket launching, race riot world that we're in, what is the puzzle? What is the image on the puzzle?
What is
Did
the
you say
image
that
on the
already
puzzle?
while I was gone?
What is the image on the puzzle?
Yeah.
Good question. Let's talk about it. We're making it up as we go along in the sense of how a puzzle connects to everything else, like an actual puzzle to put together.
I mean, the part that makes sense to me is that there I think what I'm getting from you, tell me if this is right, is that there is an organization or there's a bigger picture that God can see that we can't.
Yes.
And even when we can't see it, knowing that that's true is radical. We experience life differently when we believe that.
Yes.
I'm clear about that.
I'd say the finished puzzle in respects to Black Lives Matter is that there will be some intensity. There will be some sadness, there will be some suffering, there will be some violence here and there. Ultimately is moving into a place where all beings are more aware of our equality, our oneness, our brother and sisterhood, and how we can live together in harmony and peace. And actually seeing into other aspects of our community and being actively a part of it. I think that's the next level of consciousness. That's the next level of spirituality, is for us not only to just go into meditation around it and say, "Oh, God is here." You know, there was someone on my Instagram feed today that was like, "Are you okay?" You know, because I posted something of the little girl talking to her parents,
Right.
and he was like, "Are you okay? This doesn't sound like you." You know, and this person has never messaged me before. You know, I'm like, "Who are you?" I've never even, you know. So it's like, bring in your high vibe, bring in your love, bring in your peace, and I'm just like, yes, it's about the high vibration, and at the same time, it's important that we learn how to hold an aspect that's hurting, of that wholeness, of all that oneness. If we're actually seeing with our physical eyes that there's an area that's hurting, oh, you can do something about it with that consciousness, with that spirituality, with that meditation practice, you know. And I think that that's part of the evolution. That's part of the finished puzzle. It's like, as human beings, we're no longer running over to the peaceful side. We're no longer running over to the side where there's just only bliss. It's like, oh,
Right.
we can allow in this sadness, we can allow in this grief, we can allow in the fact that someone's suffering, we can allow in the fact that there's a whole community that is underserved, that feels regularly that they have to watch out and fear for their lives. We can let that in, because it's not something that's comfortable to let in, you know, that exists on the planet, you know.
Getting two more things from what you're saying. Can I reflect back and see if I'm hitting it?
No.
Come on.
I feel like the time that it takes you to ask, you could have already just like said it.
Yeah, it's my way.
Just go for it. Just go for it.
One part is that part of in this puzzle metaphor, part of our material existence is defined by not seeing the whole puzzle and getting very identified with our puzzle piece. And whatever that looks like we're a green piece and we're like, the world is green because I'm green and everything around me is green. But in fact, there's a whole other part of the puzzle. In fact, maybe most of the puzzle isn't green. So that's part of what I hear you saying. And actually that I'm connecting back to something else that you said, which is that God made the whole picture, God sees the whole picture, and that when we see more of the picture, we get closer to God. So when we're actually willing to look at the diversity of our world and stay present and alive and awake, we come closer to God.
Yes. The diversity of our world, not just diversity in skin color, but also diversity in emotional content.
And actually, even as you were saying that, I'm like, and also diversity in like species. Like the thing that we're doing across the human species, we are also doing as a human species against the rest of the Earth's species. Like, we're like, oh, creatures live in the ocean? Really? I don't live in the ocean. There must be no one in the ocean. Like, fuck the ocean. So there's like, right, when the diversity of all life and all that life experience contains, that whole thing, which is maybe impossible for us to fully know unless we're on psychedelics or something like that. But like, we can reach for it. And that this time is calling us to awaken to the full puzzle, or at least more of the puzzle.
Yeah.
But there's a second piece that I got from what you were saying. Which is that this video, which I feel like a lot of people have reposted this today. So if you haven't seen it, it's very easy to find. It's on Srikala's Instagram. Looks like a teenage white girl. And you just see her face through the whole 4-minute video, but she's talking to both her parents. And when you brought her up, Sri, what I felt was she's fighting. This is her like being Arjuna and fighting the fight. And she's literally fighting her family. She's literally fighting her mother and her father.
Yeah.
And the things that they are saying to me are devastating. They're appalling. They're horrifying. They're revealing. And she doesn't shut down. And she calls them out and she demands more.
Yeah. You said something to me about your first experience of this. We both watched it. We both had it. We both went into tears around it. And we both had two different experiences in a way. Whereas one of your experiences was, we have people like this that's so oblivious. How are we ever going to get forward? How are we ever going to move forward when we have people on the earth that are so unaware?
Not just unaware, but I mean, you know what's so interesting is that now that we're talking about it in this light through the lens of the puzzle and the Bhagavad-Gita, I'm like, we all have blind spots. I have deep compassion for that. I really do. And it is true that we all fight for those blind spots. That's in general. That's kind of how we human beings do things.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, even though I know that, and I work with people on that every day, and I have tremendous compassion for that every day, for whatever reason, still in this case, it was very difficult for me to listen to, the very last sentence of the video is her mom saying, like her closing remarks, her mom says, when I will care about Black people when they stop killing cops. And I just felt like, I felt the despair of how can we work with that? How can I get fucking curious about that fucking puzzle piece? I am not. It's difficult for me to get curious about that puzzle piece.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
just want to throw that fucking puzzle piece out.
Yes.
But that's literally the same thing she's doing. So yeah, I want to hear the rest of what you were saying though. I'm just,
Well,
it's hard.
I think that that's a valid response to hearing something like that. You know, it makes you want to just destroy everyone. It makes you want to let go of your peace and like kill people. Like this person does not deserve to be alive on the planet. You know, like I can imagine how someone would take it to that level. You know.
Yeah.
And at the same time, there's back to the puzzle piece, like to see the full completed puzzle. Even though there's puzzles all over the floor and you got the box and you're looking at the completed puzzle, it's like, oh, they are afraid. They are not willing to look at their own grief around the issue. They're not willing to see their part and why this is happening. And that's a reaction to that. What they're doing, the words that are coming out of their mouth might mean one thing, but what they're saying underneath is a whole other different thing. And I think that there's a beautiful thing when you can walk through this earth and see what's underneath, no matter what's going on. Even if there's someone being the most racist you've ever seen, to be able to see in that person that they are basically afraid. They have some shame coming up right now, and this is how it's expressed into the physical world. And I think that to have that vision is super important, to be able to see that. Although you see it and it's sad and it's hurtful, at the same time there's this like, oh, you are a hurt little kid. Even though you're in an adult parent body, you are a hurt little child right now that needs love also, that needs yeah.
Yeah, it's powerful for me to hear you speak about it, because it's like I know this.
Yeah. Chandler
And
says, this is sadly my family, and my question is how to sincerely practice seeing Krishna in their hearts.
yeah, Sri, can you tell us that? Because that is also my question.
Well, that's like, it's not something that you just do, you know? It can be. Actually, it is something that you just do. But ultimately, to get to that point where you can just activate it, it requires practice. It requires for you to take the time to commune with God, for you to take the time to sit in your meditation, to read the philosophies, to pull out your Gita and read through it and take doses again and again, so that you can begin to have the eyes. It's actually called Shastra Chakshush. I think it's called Shastra Chakshus. It's a hard one for me. But it means like seeing through the eyes of Shastra, which means seeing through the eyes of the Gita, seeing through the eyes of the divine.
Yeah.
And when you do enough of this practice, you're able to see the world through that lens. If you see racism happening, you can be sad about it. You can feel your anger around it, but at the same time, you have that Shastra Chakshush, where you can see what is actually going on when a cop has his knee on a black person's neck until that cop dies. So much pain around that. And at the same time, I can see something deeper. I can see that this cop is having a bad day. I can see that this cop is having some fear come up, and the best way that he knows to deal with that fear is to be more aggressive in his authority. I can see that there's someone that isn't trained. I can see that George Floyd has a mission that he's been sent to the planet to do. Even on George Floyd's side, I can see that, even as a martyr, I don't think that I actually feel like that whole idea that people need to die in order to prove a point. I don't really fully believe in that. But nonetheless, because of the reality that these bodies are temporary, we're here for a moment, we're here and then we're gone. Some of us come here in these bodies to do a particular mission. Who are you to say that George Floyd's mission wasn't to have that experience so that it can push forward the evolution of the planet?
Mm-hmm.
So
You know,
there's so many spectrums to this, you know?
you know the Liberty puzzles, the wooden puzzles they're like thicker pieces, they're a bit more sturdy. And if you're really advanced in your puzzling, you can put them together in reverse, upside down, where there is no image. There's only image on one side. So you can put them together just by the shape. And then when you finish the puzzle, it's got a lot of intricate texture and shape, but there's no that the image isn't there. And I feel like what you're talking about feels so valuable to me. It feels really important, and it also feels dangerous to me. Like, this is where spiritual bypassing comes in. Not in the words that you're saying, but if we use those words to then pretend that we don't have to fight. And I think that's really why the Bhagavad-Gita, like, coming together in these conversations felt so valuable. It's like, yes, we are not these bodies. We are spirit souls. At that level, like, all is well. And we came into these material bodies for a reason, for a purpose. And for many of us right now, that purpose is to use this whole experience to come more into our bodies, more into the material world, more into our agency and empowerment that actually has us fighting, standing for something, saying, you know what? Like, I recognize, cops, that y'all are spirit souls also. And in this material form, step it the fuck up. Like, get your fucking shit together.
Get your shit
and
together.
Do this differently.
Get your shit together. This is like the divine speaking through millions of people right now. Get your shit together, you know?
But not I mean, and I feel like this is a very edgy thing to say, but what's coming through right now is, like, not from a shame place, not from a right, wrong place, but from a...
That's the ideal.
Say more about that.
I mean, the ideal is to have it come from this I was looking at someone else's feed. They were saying instead of reactiveness, I forgot the other word that she was using, but something reactiveness, moving to conscious response. You know, conscious response is the ideal. I feel conscious response is the ideal. I think that ultimately, whether it's a conscious response or whether it comes out a little messy or whether it comes out, however it comes out, people need to, sometimes, you know, an institution needs a smack. Whether it's in the highest, most beautiful response, or whether it's burning down the police station that cop came from. Like you guys can't get it right. We asked you several times, burn the police station down. I'm like, yeah, burn it down, you know. And at the same time, see, that's the thing right there, because we're not into violence. We're not into destroying things, you know. We're not into being violent. And at the same time, we understand it. We see why it's necessary. We see why Krishna. And I love what Sita put in there. We're going to come back to that verse about equal vision. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he said, Arjuna said, "Oh Krishna, please show me that form that I heard so much about. You know, please show me this universal form that everybody's talking about. I seem to be the last to be left out of the party, you know." And Krishna's like,
almost like Arjuna was like, "Show me the puzzle."
Yes, exactly.
Show me the image on the puzzle.
Show me the image of the finished puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Krishna was like, "Sure, here it is."
Yeah. And it almost felt like he was like, "You sure?" I don't know if he said it like that, but he was like, "You sure?" You sure you want to
Uh-huh.
see that? Because it's, and he was like, yeah, man, give me the full reveal. And this is actually a full chapter. It's called the
Yeah.
universal form
Yeah.
in the Bhagavad-Gita.
Yep.
And Krishna was like, all right, all right.
Here we
So,
go.
so he shows Arjuna the universal form. And it's literally Krishna multiplies into many different aspects of himself. And one of the aspects is like, holding a flower, bringing peace and love. The other aspect is devouring everything. It's
Yep.
killing people. It's biting people's heads off. It's just like destroying everything, and it's the most destructive, most painful, most saddest, most grievous aspects, as also the part of Krishna that's giving birth and creating new life, and giving the sun to the plants, and and in all of the glory of the divine, Krishna's like, look at me, this is me,
Yes.
this is all
All of
me,
it. All of
all
it.
of it. How much can you accept? How much of that can you accept? That this is all me right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's like,
Mm.
that's the finished puzzle, and at the same time, there's something even higher than that, because at that point, Arjuna was completely overwhelmed by this sight. He was like, I know I asked for this, but like, put it away.
Yeah, I can't take it anymore. Like
Put
I'm
it
dead.
away.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Thanks a lot, but put it away. Put it away. I
Yeah.
can't handle it.
I mean, I'm also now making the connection that this is also what you're talking about when you talk about the full range of emotional experience, or being willing to, like, yes, let's raise the vibration, and also let's see the truth of the suffering that's happening in the world.
Yes, exactly. It's got to be both. That's the next level evolution, as far as I can
Yeah.
see it, as far as I can think about it. It's, this reality where there's, especially in the conscious spiritual community, where people are like, oh, I feel bad vibes. I gotta pull out the sage everything down,
Yeah.
and I gotta protect my aura with these 50 different mantras, or I can't go out today because it's too intense. I'm very sensitive to what's happening, so I gotta hide out. And it's like, take what you need. I
Mm-hmm.
gotta be compassionate about that. Take what you need. It's important that take what you need. If you feel
Yep.
that there's some intensity coming through, take what you need. And at the same time, where we're going as a soul living in a body that experiences emotions, that experiences thoughts, that experiences feelings, that experiences uh, sensory sensations, where we're going is a place where when we experience anger in our bodies, we feel it all the way through,
That's right.
and we don't run from it. We don't say that's not spiritual and we run off. You know,
That's right.
when we see someone have a neck, a knee on their neck,
Yeah.
we don't say, oh, that black person must have been really bad. He was drunk, and he had a counterfeit 20, so he deserved it, or on the other side, that stupid cop, that white cop, those white cops always, it's like,
Mm.
can you feel the pain that black person is going to? Can you feel the pain that black person was experiencing leading up to that,
Mm-hmm.
where he felt like he had to use that counterfeit 20, which is actually explained that he recently lost his job because of the
Yeah.
pandemic. He
Yeah.
lost his job, and I can what that does to a person, to not be able to provide for their kid, and to be trying to figure out what to do next, and
Mm.
to be in uncertainty, like, what's going to happen in the world. I don't know what's going to happen. We're in this realm
Mm-hmm.
of uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
So much going on for that person. To put yourself in that person's shoes and feel it,
Hmm.
and not back away from the emotional content there. That is spiritual mastery. That is spiritual mastery. And also, to put yourself in the shoes of that police officer.
That's right. Yeah.
That is spiritual mastery.
Yeah.
What was that police officer feeling when that happened?
Yeah.
What was he going through when he felt like he needed to put his knee
Yeah.
on this human being's neck?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is spiritual mastery.
Yep.
And I think that is what everyone is integrating into. Instagram's got 10 seconds. Oh, Instagram! Why they put this limit on things? They're trying to limit us.
Why we got
They're
this
trying to limit our
skin
flow.
to keep us in a body? I mean, you know, the one, wait, I have a hack. Hold on.
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
I am just getting everything up to
Do you want to go,
here.
you want to go back on Instagram?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
let's do it.
I think we were definitely getting into a juicy rhythm there.
I love you, Srikala and Jesse.
And we're back. And we're back. And we're back. And we're back.
Yeah. Oh, you're looking good. Like I've seen you for the first time.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back.
Yeah.
We're going to push this one past the hour.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Because it's getting juicy. It's getting real juicy.
I think so too.
And we love it that you're here.
And what better way to spend a Friday night?
Right? Come on. Come on. Come on. So, the full spectrum of spiritual mastery. And we can see that not only in how we witness such a heinous act from a police officer, when we put ourselves not only in the person being killed shoes, I can't breathe, but the person's shoes that I'm going to take your breath. Are you willing to be in both of their bodies, in both of their energies? Are you willing to feel what humans on the planet right now are feeling?
That's right.
And still be spiritual and still be high vibe.
That's right.
And still be with God and still hold that vibration.
Yeah.
That is where we're going, you know?
Yeah. I think that this time, part of what I'm experiencing is just whatever cognitive dissonance still exists inside my body is showing up to get integrated, cleared, released, understood, like in whatever ways I'm walking around with some push-pull, that I'm getting to see it. And I'm sharing that in this moment because as I was listening to you, I was thinking about Gangaji and Abraham and all these spiritual teachers who basically, I feel like, actually Gangaji is also very nuanced in this. This is the fundamental teaching, like woven together, like the cables of my ear whatever these are called, headphones, right? They ultimately have the same cable. They're woven together, indistinguishable, but I experience these as two different things. One side is feel all the things, say yes to all the things, go into it. The only way out is through. Transcendence, not avoidance. Like go into the depth of the thing, whatever that is. On the other side is take the fucking bypass, like take the easy path, whichever path feels good, go feel good. And I think that for me, my actual understanding of that seeming distinction or duality is that there is if I'm choosing to feel good from a place of fear or scarcity or avoidance, it's not actually feeling good. Like that's not actually choosing feeling good. That's not actually the thing that they're teaching. And when I can actually say yes to what is and fully receive and be a full yes to what is, I am a yes to what's happening. That doesn't mean that I approve of what's happening or that I want what's happening to continue forever, but I'm willing to be alive in it. I'm willing to be awake in it. I'm willing to keep my eyes open and not turn away and look at the truth of our current society and how I participate in it, and look at what's dark and look at what's unconscious and let it surface, that in that is it's a different kind of transcendence. I'm that's one of my takeaways from our conversation tonight, is that that's the truth of transcendence comes from the whole. It doesn't come from avoidance. Transcendence and avoidance are the opposite.
Mm.
I feel like you're like,
No, I mean, I agree with you. I feel like, because the way you're saying it, it sounds like a lot of work. It's like I got to do something really tricky almost, and in a way that's true. In a way, there's a balance. There's something to work on.
Being in the
There's something to
shoes of the
cultivate.
police officer, that feels, I mean, I don't know if it's a lot of work, but it's deeply uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Both shoes, both George Floyd and the cop's shoes are uncomfortable. The guy witnessing is uncomfortable. Every fucking human who watched the damn video is uncomfortable. This is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Staying in it is uncomfortable.
Yes.
And I'm massively grateful that social media and the community, at least that I'm part of, is staying with it. Like, I don't feel, especially today, I don't feel like my community is avoiding. I feel like people are paying attention. People are looking. People are reacting in different ways. But I do feel like,
to different degrees,
our cultural attention is focused in a way that feels qualitatively and quantitatively different to me.
Yeah.
So I'm all that to say, I'm not sure. I want to hear you talk more about the hard thing. Like,
there's a practice to it. There's a cultivation to this. There's a almost like a step-by-step journey to really getting to the point where you can say, yeah, I really felt everything that I fully needed to felt by seeing that incident go down.
mm-hmm.
I really felt everything that I needed to feel by really stepping into the shoes of that cop and feeling why he felt it was necessary to do that. I really felt the full capacity of George Floyd.
For what it's worth, when I hear you say that, that sounds like hard work.
Yes.
So do you think it's hard?
Well, that's what I'm getting to.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting to. I'm getting to the place where in that space that's hard. And in another space, there's this area of, it's almost like take the bypass, you know?
Mm-hmm.
There's a space where
I feel like we should just say briefly that for people who don't know, there's a Gangaji YouTube video where she does this teaching, and it's pretty radical, and that's the takeaway. I think that's even the name of the video, is take the bypass. Like, if you have a fast highway to God, fucking take it.
Yeah. If you needed to get home immediately and you looked at your map and you saw on the map that there was a road that will cut through your usual route and get you there in half the time, why wouldn't you take it? It's such a weird term, spiritual bypass, because when I think about spiritual bypass, I think like, oh, should you do that? Shouldn't you like take the bypass, get there faster, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, we're talking about two different things, you know, ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree? We're talking about actually
avoidance and transcendence. I swear to God,
yes.
These are worthwhile words, Sri. The spiritual bypass that we want to be mindful of is the avoidance, the one where we're like, and I'm just gonna close my ears and plug my. That's the spiritual bypassing that we're trying to. Well, I don't even want to say trying to. That's the kind that is actually counter to our deepest vision.
It's counter, but at the same time, if someone is doing that avoidance, and actually turning a blind eye to it, but going and sincerely doing the work, I question that.
I guess I just don't think that I don't know that I believe in that particular duality. I
Well,
feel like
sometimes they're saying like, you know, this is a consciousness thing. This has nothing to do with race. This has to do with the consciousness. All lives matter. All souls are loved. These things that can be said. You could say that this is spiritual bypassing. This is avoidance. And in a way, yes. And in a way, yeah, go meditate, please. That'll help you, and that'll help the next person that you talk to, because you've meditated before you spoke to them. That'll help everything you do after that point. For you to go meditate, go do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think that the sincerity isn't avoidance. That's my counter argument, is that if there's sincerity, I just don't think that's avoidance.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean that we can see the whole puzzle. That doesn't mean that
Exactly.
there isn't a growth edge. We all have a growth edge.
Exactly. And that's why I'm so hesitant to use that or call anyone a spiritual bypasser. Because how many people actually know what that person is experiencing just because they said they would rather meditate, or they would rather focus on all lives? I think that
two things. One, I felt my own resistance, I think until today or yesterday, very recently. I was like, I felt some discomfort in using the hashtag Black Lives Matter. It's not that I was opposed to the movement. I just felt uncomfortable me saying it. And I felt much more comfortable with All Lives Matter. And then I read a post today that said, we fucking know all lives matter. Like, when we say Black Lives Matter, that doesn't mean we don't know that all lives matter. We're just emphasizing, hey, this place needs a little bit like recalibration. And there was something about that helped me find my own alignment with it. That, like, yeah, I can now stand by that as a movement. I can now stand by that because I have a deeper understanding. That's totally on me. I feel like, I just want to be clear that I feel like that's my failing in not getting the education sooner. I didn't know that I was missing that until last day or two. But
it's a complex thing,
Yeah.
I feel like even for me, I had to mature into that.
Well, and perhaps actually the movement has matured, and that's why it's making sense to me now.
Yes, and that's why it's such a big movement, because it's making more sense to a lot of people.
More people.
Like, we get it now. Before it was like all lives matter, but now we get it.
For some reason, the other piece that's coming up, it's not for some reason. I know why. We talked about this today. I have there's someone in my life who I love very much, who I respect very much, who I feel quite close to. And he's been like one of the most wise and sage and just like insightful, sensitive, caring people I've ever known. I'm like so grateful to have this person in my life. I love them. And last night we met and spoke and talked a little bit about what's going on in the world. And I discovered for the first time that he is very right-wing and has very strong political beliefs that I don't understand. And I had this amazing cognitive dissonance of like, I love this person. I trust this person. I know their heart. I am with them. And at the same time, like, this person is my enemy and I have to leave immediately. Like, I cannot be in relationship to someone who feels, speaks, thinks this way.
Mm-hmm.
And it got real heated. And because we have a relationship, because we actually do have that foundation of trust in one another and the fundamental intention of one another's hearts, we were able to pause and say, okay, wait, there's like, how can we do this differently? And what we did that seemed to work was just talk about our feelings towards each other. Mm-hmm. And to get away from the big general, like the general ideas or the political ideas or these things that are very big and abstract, and bring it into the personal. So like when you said this thing, I felt, and I just told him, like, when you said this radical thing, I'm not even going to repeat, I felt like you were blaming me for George Floyd's death. Me personally. That's how I felt. And immediately he was able to be like, oh my God, I mean, I don't feel that way at all. Like, as soon as we got into the individual, it actually helped us connect. So when you're talking about being in the shoes of the policeman or George Floyd, anyone that I don't know, anyone that I don't have a relationship with, I'm now referencing that experience with my friend to not necessarily, I don't know that I can actually get as far, but I can at least remember, like there is at least one human being on this planet who believes, thinks, sees very differently from me. I know there's many more, but there's at least one who I love, who I trust. And if he and I are willing to talk to each other and listen to each other and hear that we impact each other in painful ways, we can move, we can grow together, we can evolve together, we can learn how to collaborate.
Yeah. That's the, I guess, mature way of being messy.
It was very messy.
Yeah. Like allowing him to express, he could have not expressed what he expressed. You got very triggered at his way of looking at the world.
Yeah.
But he could have held it back in avoidance of your trigger.
In fact, I think that part of why he was so angry is because he has been holding it back.
Yes, exactly.
And so it's like it has gotten toxic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could have listened to what he said and really, you could have gone all the way into that experience of, you're not my friend, you're my enemy now because of what you think and what you feel.
Yeah. I mean, that was the trigger. As I'm hearing you reflect it back to me, I'm like, yeah, I am more unconditional in my love for him now than I was yesterday because we had the conflict.
Yes.
And part of the trigger was, just to go back to the puzzle metaphor, part of the trigger was, I thought you were also a green piece. And now you're telling me you're a fucking brown? I can't choose a color that actually doesn't have some additional meaning. I'm like reaching. Now you're telling me you're purple? Wait, and you have orange on you too? Oh my God. Like it felt like the floor fell out from under me. I felt like I don't know this person at all, but of course that's not true.
I'm going to say something.
What were you just going to say?
Risky.
Yeah.
I don't participate in politics. I never have. And I know that there are a big population of people that will be upset about that. Or at least I think that's the truth. And I have seen it. I have made comments that people have responded back to me like, why don't you vote? Who are you not to vote? I've never voted. How do you feel about that?
Me?
Yeah. How do you feel about that, our listeners? That me, Srikala, has never voted ever.
Yeah, I think that's a better question. You and I have talked about this, but I think other people, this is a juicy place for people to comment.
Yeah. We wanna know what you feel, what you think about that. Because
and in contrast, like I generally do.
Yes. You generally do vote.
But I have, for the last probably decade, I haven't been an activist about it. I would say for the first 15 years of my voting life, I was pretty aggressive. Like I would have been one of the people who was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Major judgment. I mean, obviously the fact that I just found her that quickly, I'm like, oh, she's still in there. I can totally go there. The The fuck is wrong with you, you stupid fucking asshole? We worked so fucking hard to get here. How the fuck can you not vote?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. We got some people saying, Joseph on Facebook says, Sri, I don't either, and there's nothing wrong with that. On Instagram, we got Chandler. I think it's important to know why. Aphrodisiac asks, Trump's happy you didn't vote. She's just like pulling out the swords there a little bit, Afro.
Yeah.
And Wildflower or Wildwood is like, why haven't you voted?
Well, so tell us, Sri, why don't you vote?
It's not fun. I like fun, you know. No, I think that is.
How do you know it's not fun if you haven't done it?
I know what's fun and what's not, so I just skip the not fun stuff. You know? No. I'm moving on from that one. I just threw that one out. Let's not go too deep into that one.
Okay.
I think at a very early, like Joseph saying, is I don't connect to it. This is where I was going to. At a very early time where it kind of made sense for me to start voting at that age. I don't know when is the appropriate age. What's like when does that age start?
18.
18? Yeah.
Yeah.
By that time at 18, I was living in a temple. I was living in an ashram. I was not looking at the outside world. For 6 years, I cut it off.
Yeah.
It was meditation, japa.
Yeah.
It was mantra. It was distributing as many conscious books on the street as possible. It was going deeper into myself and understanding that. So around the time where voting was even legal for me, I wasn't looking in that direction. I was working on myself really deeply, intensely. That the kind of work on yourself where you turn off the external world for years.
Right.
You know, talk about like working on yourself, like turn off all this stuff, turn off the music I used to listen to, turn off the people I used to see, turn off my family to a certain degree.
That's
Even
right.
my family can't get into the spectrum. You know?
Yeah.
And do the work, you know. Understand who I am, understand like what this mind is. Why is it going all over the place constantly? How can I quiet it? How can I find peace? How can I love myself more? Why don't I love myself? You know, who am I to love myself anyway? Who's loving who? You know, like all these thoughts and questions. Erica's like, that's me right now, hermit life. All these, so I took that time to have that experience. And I think when I left that experience, I feel like for me, there was a clarity around what my service was and how powerful and important and effective my voice is and how epic my music is, that when I make a song, it can create a long-term effect in a way that voting can, you know. And I think that there's a piece here, because
what's the piece? Sri, bring it.
I'm bringing it. I'm bringing it on to you. There's a piece here where when you're living in this society and you're following the rules all the time, you know, like pay your taxes, cross the street at the right time, all the things that society asks you to do to participate. Go to school, learn how to do these things so that you can get this job, get a certain amount of money based on what minimum wage is. Like all these things that society is like, here's the structure for you. Please go within it and do your thing, you know? And one of those things is voting, is participating in a structure where you can choose who makes the rules and who pushes laws forward and who's sitting in that seat that will vouch for you, you know. And to create change, like that's why we do that, right? We vote to make change, to feel like we're doing something better for the world, you know. And my
I'm deeply uncomfortable right now. I'm just going to say it.
great, good.
And
Discomfort, from discomfort comes
I think that
many
the
realizations.
discomfort is, it's coming from the comments. I just realized it's coming from the comments. I'm reacting to people using what you're saying to come up with, to reinforce meaning that I disagree with, which, like, who the hell
Well,
cares what I think? But
this
it's
is what
like,
we've been talking about, though. You know, if you're not able to hear what I'm saying
yeah,
and stay with the conversation,
yeah,
then it's like, why are you here if we're not here to get messy together? You know, if we're not here to explore together. You know, I don't have it all figured out.
yeah. I'm with you, but I feel like you're making a point. I'm not sure I'm getting the point.
Oh, just the reality that this is messy. You know, everyone's gonna have their view. I have my view. You have your view. Can we allow each other to have each other's point of view and
Yeah, maybe
perspective?
that's it. I'm like, yeah, what's our goal here?
To have me finish my point that I was making.
No way, that's not the goal. I'm happy to hear the rest of your point, but that's not the goal. And we don't have to answer that question. I'm certainly not asking you. I'm not expecting you to answer the question, but I think that that's,
Do you have an
like,
answer?
for me, that's the heart of this. What?
Well, I think the goal is to express. The goal is for me to express my experience
Mm-hmm.
on the politics, because my point is valid, just like your point is valid, just like any of the listeners here that's going to either root for us or challenge us, because in this world there exists a major population of people right now that don't vote. They don't vote, and they don't say that they don't vote because they're afraid that if they say it, they'll get pushback, they'll get repercussions, someone won't like them, you know, because they're not participating in a certain thing that another major part of the world is participating in, you know. And so I think that's one of the most juiciest thing for me is to say, to bring up those parts, you know, like, oh, what is it that I do and I feel nervous about saying, you know.
Totally. Totally. I mean, I think that what's happening though is that people are in the comments. I'm not looking at the comments anymore, but when I was looking at the comments, what I was seeing was that the people that are listening are 100% enthusiastic about your approach. So it's not actually edgy in this particular group, at least where I'm looking.
Mm-hmm.
All these people are like, yeah, me neither. And here's why. And like, I think,
It's edgy for me.
yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We love you. We love hearing your thoughts, but I won't speak my piece.
Who are you
And
talking
if
to
it's
right now?
you
Oh,
and everyone and
you feel
everyone.
like I'm silencing you?
Yes. Yes. To a certain degree,
Mhm.
yes. I think you're silencing me on behalf of what people may or may not be saying.
Hmm.
And I think there's something juicy here at the end of this topic.
I appreciate you telling me that.
And I think the beauty is to just like also just say the comment, you know, that you saw that felt like it. You know, some people are saying Trump's happy that you didn't vote. Uh, Amanda Capabianca, good to see you. Good to see you. Chandler's back again. She's like, no, a huge part of me is like, that's a hard earned right to vote, a huge American privilege to vote.
Hmm.
Uh,
Maybe, I mean,
Erica is saying it's a form of submission.
hmm,
Uh, yeah.
yeah, I think for me, the emotional reaction last night with my friend and tonight it's much smaller, but I think it's the same, which is like, I feel I live with you every day. I know you don't vote. I've never felt I have questions about it, but I've never felt angry or offended in any way by that. I feel like that's your choice. It doesn't feel like a fight that I feel strongly about. But there's in this moment, in this conversation, my experience is feeling like spit on was the word that came up for me. Like deeply dismissed, disrespected, and abandoned. I think that's like at the heart of all those things for me. The core wound is like being left all alone. And then as I was feeling that, then you were like, Jesse, you're silencing me. And it's like, oh, okay. All right. Okay.
It is what it is. It's just messy. We feel it all, you know? Amanda says voting feels empowering in the moment, but is it? It's
I think that's
surprising
great.
how many. I'm like surprised, you know. I shared something that felt edgy,
Yeah.
and everyone's just like, "Yeah, fuck voting."
Yeah.
Not really fuck voting, but like everyone's just like, "Yeah, I get you." You
Yeah.
know, Mimi's like voting is giving your power away. You know.
Huh.
So I'm gonna make it clear though that I feel like if it feels like your dharma to vote, if it feels like you have a passion for voting, if you feel like you've been sent here to participate in that, if you really believe in your voice through voting, do it 100%. Yeah, Chandler's like not me. Chandler, Chandler's like not me. I'm like I'm with the side of like use your American gift to vote. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the most empowering things, one of the things I feel the most fierce about, Jesse, is I feel like I can affect so much change. Just me.
Hmm.
I feel like just me sitting in a corner and visualizing the world the way I want it, the way I see it, in love, whole, complete, unity, variety, races coming together and understanding our oneness. I feel like as I sit there and I see that and I feel that and I feel the gratitude for that and I bring the emotional content in for that and I feel the joy and excitement and emotional content around that, I feel like I'm actually making a powerful change right then and there and everyone is feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually surprised when other people don't feel like they can do that.
Mm.
And I feel like most of the time, not every time, but most of the time, that when people don't feel like they can do that, they give their power away and say, hey, I'm going to vote because that's going to be the thing. That's going to make the big change, you know? And I'm like, yeah, do that, but realize that finish your freaking artwork, make that sale, do your service, start up that workshop because you have the ability right here, right now to change 1 million lives. When you put up a video on your Instagram, when you put up a video on your YouTube, that 50 people that see it, that 10 people that see it, that 100 people that see it, that 1,000 people that see it, it's huge. We're in that time right now. We're in 2020 when you can spark massive change right now.
Absolutely.
And so that's the fierceness that I have around that reality that you can manifest destiny, Aphrodisiac. Each one of us can manifest destiny. Are we aware that we are the change, that you are the change, that I am the change? When Trump, not when Trump, when Obama became president, I remember I was at the Bhakti Center on the 3rd floor, and we were sitting in a circle just in a meeting. And when it was announced that Obama won, everyone was celebrating in the street. Everyone, I could hear them. The cars were honking. Everyone was like, "Whoa!" The Lower East Side was going off, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it was strange to me how I was reacting to it. I was so sad. I was extremely sad. I was like, yes, it's cool. Black person's president. That's never happened before. But I was very sad that everybody has decided to celebrate and not that this is like fully true, but the reality that so much people put their power in that man's hands that they haven't been celebrating already based on the effort that they've been putting in to the change in this world. Like everyone should be celebrating on that level on a regular basis because that's the amount of change that they can bring at any moment. And the fact that they've now, woo, this guy's gonna do it. We did it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Pandemic still came. Trump still became president. Another black person still got killed. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
absolutely.
we're experiencing the most contrast we've ever experienced in centuries.
Yeah, for sure. I see that.
Not to say that nothing good came out of Obama. Like he was a G, man.
It's
He
just
was he was the most
it's
like
amazing, but
he was
it's
the most
always
G.
mixed. It's always mixed. There's never it's never just one thing ever.
Yeah,
Unless you zoom out so far that it's all one, which is a very um specific point of view.
yeah. Not only can Trump not do more than I can do, but there's nothing that he can do to stop what I'm doing. How about those apples?
I mean, I think that the words that you're saying are cutting to the, like, if you, I think that what you're saying and anyone's belief or disbelief in what you're saying might well be the defining line in many different political views for sure, but also spiritual ones. I keep thinking about, Joseph wrote, do spirituality and politics go together? In my mind, or in my opinion, no. And I feel like I'm very open to that perspective. I feel like if Joseph were speaking, he could explain that more. But in me, I'm like, yeah, this is the same spectrum. They're different grain sizes along the same spectrum. So that's why we're talking about it.
Yeah.
And when you talk, I just want to go back to this thing, that the principle that when you talk, Sri, about your experience, I'm always a yes. I trust you. I trust your heart. I don't always understand you, but generally when I feel any kind of like any kind of judgment or frustration or disappointment or anything about you or your choices, it's either 100% about me or it's arising out of a not understanding you. It's never like, when we dig deep enough, I'm always a yes for you. Always, always, always. And so I think that it's interesting to watch my own emotional kind of like checking out or something like that as we, I think that the kind of my engagement and like intimacy and presence here, or my backing away and wanting to stop, is directly proportional to how personal your story or the stories of the people in the comments or the stories that we're like, the way that we're speaking is. And when we get real abstract or general or like anything that's like everyone should do this, then immediately I'm like, hang on. And for me, I think that that's the confusing thing, is that that's how I feel. I watch that, I see that principle, and then I'm like, but please, can we just make it so that every cop doesn't kill people? Like, that seems like a really good general approach. So I appreciate you bringing up your edges. I'm a yes for all your edges.
Thanks. I appreciate you loving all my edges. I think the edges aren't here to hurt. They're here to slice away any fears, any disconnection, and it's going to be messy. I think that that's the thing with also with my own process of being seen and sharing and speaking, is that there's that practice of sharing anyway, moving forward and bringing all the love and emotion that I can possibly conjure up and speak from that space of how much love and longing and desire and and how much emotion can I bring into
Mm.
my conversation and my words. And I feel like you can't get it wrong when you understand how to cultivate love and how to experience love. That's the one-stop shop, and that brings us back to the hard versus the easy versus the one-stop shop simplicity. Is
Mm-hmm.
that it could be so hard to put yourself in that cop's shoes, to put yourself in George Floyd's shoes, to experience both sides of the equation and feel the suffering and the fear and the pain that exist in both bodies.
Mm-hmm.
That leads to that kind of clashing of a moment.
Mm.
And at the same time, when you're loving, when you understand how to love and how to choose love in that moment, then it includes all these things.
Mm.
It just naturally includes all of the other feelings. It's not a love that shuts things down. It's a love
Mm-hmm.
that welcomes in uh, everything around you. It just welcomes it in.
Mm.
It protects. There's no need to say your 50th protection mantra. You know, in my experience, it's an interesting journey in that realm. I could
Mm.
remember in the beginning days of my spirituality, I was always with the sage. I was always
Mm. Like
placing
feeling
a
a little
bubble of
fragile.
light. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
putting a bubble of light around me all the time. Like this bubble of light will protect me,
Yeah.
and I would visualize different colors in the bubble around me. You know, I don't do that ever now anymore. I never do
Because
that
you got
anymore.
you take shelter of
Sometimes,
Krishna.
yeah, I take shelter, and I know that when I'm loving, nothing can hurt me, nothing can harm me, not even a virus,
Not even a knee.
not even a knee in my neck can hurt me.
Mm.
I know that truly when I'm loving, this is the safest place. It's the most certain place that I can be in, especially when there's the most uncertainty on the planet. When I experience the
Mm.
vibration of love in my body and the gratitude in my body, when I experience that, it's the safest place that I can be.
Back to your interview this morning with Govind Das, one of the things that really stood out to me, and that other clients have like I invited a bunch of clients to watch that this morning, and a bunch of them then I met with later today, and multiple of those clients talked about this, the way that you use the word home,
Mm, yeah.
not as some place that we're going to, like eventually when we die and go to heaven or go to the spiritual world or something like that, but a location in you, in each of us, that's available moment to moment. That's how I
Mm,
understand it.
mm.
Is that, can you talk a little bit more about that? Like, what is home?
Home. And this connects to what Joseph is asking. Joseph asks, I want to put it up on the screen for everyone on YouTube and Facebook. We can understand that because of who we are. But Sri, how do we get that beautiful point across to the population?
Hmm.
We also have Ylang Rider coming across with edges of the realness that help us move past our internalized false narratives. Cuts
Hmm.
was a good word for it.
Mm-hmm.
Home. Home. What is home? Home is a place where you have released all of your grips, your internal grips and fears against the world. Home is where you experience all your guards are down. On a regular basis, as human beings on the planet, we have guards up regularly. And this is the whole realm of subconscious uh, fears or core wounds, all these things that happen on the subconscious. Chandler is like, I'm never going to sleep with this juiciness. I love that. Uh,
So beautiful.
there's all these there's all these pieces in the body that tense and tighten up in
Mm-hmm.
defense of the world. And home is when that is no longer happening.
Mm.
Home is when your 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 uh your butthole is relaxed. Home is when your vagina and your penis has softened. Home is when you are certain about love over fear, when fear is no longer present and the choice of love has taken over. Home is where the heart is.
I feel like I'm
Home,
loving how the Bhagavad Gita just keeps like layering in as I'm listening to you talk. I'm like, home is where Arjuna lands at the end of the Bhagavad Gita.
mm-hmm.
Home
Yes.
is where he is, and then from
Yeah.
there he fights.
Yeah.
Then from there he's like, all right, I
Yeah.
got this.
Mm-hmm.
I can
And
kill my teacher. I can kill my family.
yeah.
I can fight this fight. I know what I am. I know who I am. I know how I serve. I am here. I am here.
Home.
I am here.
And home is always here.
Home is always here.
Home is always here. And there's the journey for the human being to realize what is here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which is the spectrum of all the emotions. All the emotions are here. You have grief in you, you have sadness in you, you have anger in you, you have all these things in you. Experience it. And when you experience it, it reveals what it truly is on the other side. When you experience that sadness all the way through, it reveals what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only suffering when you don't feel it. When you buck the current of the emotion that wants to move through you, it is called suffering. It comes through as discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
It comes through as, well, discomfort might not be the word, but it comes through as
Resistance.
pain.
Gripping. Yeah.
I don't like this. Get me out of this situation.
Yeah.
And home is when you're in that spot where you're no longer resisting the pangs of these emotional states. And you're welcoming it in.
Mm-hmm.
So that it reveals what it truly is. And that's when anger becomes fierce love. That's when anger becomes, I want that thing now. That thing that I've always been desiring, that racial equality that I've always been desiring. I want it now, and I want it for the remainder of time. That's when the fullest capacity of our energy and the biggest, most brightest, beautiful impact that we can make comes through. When we feel that sadness all the way, when we feel that anger all the way, it becomes fierce love. It flowers fully into that space. But when the anger is there, we don't feel it. It gets bottled up.
That's right.
It becomes disease in the body.
And the society.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're seeing.
It becomes over authoritative energy that feels like it needs to press into a knee more than it needs to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love hearing you talk about claiming equality and just knowing the mastery of your teaching of everything you want is already here, and feeling it's like I feel quite masterful in my personal manifestation. Like I set a goal, I'm pretty good at meeting it. I want to create something, I'm pretty good at creating it in my own local life. And this conversation in particular tonight has challenged me to go bigger than that without coming from a place of control, right? Without coming from a place of like, I just put me in charge and I'll make everyone do it this way and my way, right? But to feel a sense of like something like racial equality, to be able to feel a sense of agency, that is something that I can claim now in the same way that I claim my own life, my own wealth, my own business.
The same way that you claim that there is food in your fridge. The same way that you claim that you can get up out of your bed and walk in the morning. Like, I got feet, of course I'll walk in the morning, It's like that like that level of like, oh, of course racial equality is here. Of course I can do something massive to bring it forth now. Just as we take a human foot goes in front of the other, that amount of ease that we can feel into that is available for us in racial equality, but it requires us to express the anger that has always been there, to feel it, to express all the feelings that have always been there, to express the grief that has always been there, so that we can use that energy. To say
Very
equality
well.
now. Should we end this?
I'm ready.
Awesome.
We'll be back on Tuesday.
We'll be back on Tuesday. We're going to keep
Yeah.
this going. We're going to keep bringing the love.
I just want to shout out Sri before we close tonight, that if you're not already listening to Srikala on like his music on the daily, all day, every day, now's a real good time. His music is medicine for these times, medicine for all times, medicine for all people. And there's a tremendous transmission. You guys feel it when he talks, right? When he looks, he doesn't even have to do anything to make the transmission happen. I feel like the transmission is extra powerful, extra potent in the music.
Yeah.
So I just want to encourage people to go listen to Srikala right now. And if you're one of those people who is amplifying Black voices, to use the music that he makes to contribute to that feed, that what would it be like for everyone? Joseph asked before, like, how do we get everyone, how do we get this message out to the population? Like, freaking introduce everyone to Srikala's music. Send them already here. Send them.
That's what it's
home.
For. That's what the music is for.
Get a little missionary about it, a little activist about it, get up and preach, spread that good word.
Yeah. Can I add something to that? Because I love Joseph's question.
Yeah. I don't know what Joseph's question is. You want to say it?
He says, how do we get that beautiful point across to the population? And we're talking about home and like we're connecting to that, to this equal vision, and any of these like high ideal kind of spaces of the understanding of consciousness, and bringing that forth to the population and helping them to understand these deeper truths that may be esoteric for the population to understand, is that one of the pieces is not only being active in putting the music out, being active in sharing voices that are here to bring forth this kind of energy, but also taking it in for yourself, purifying your own self, doing that internal reform for yourself, taking it seriously, really getting in there, making your prayers, remembering where we are and using where we are in the situation today to make your prayers deeper, more fervent.
Yes. And
surround yourself with others that are at that capacity and at that that vibration, and read books that will help in order to bring yourself into that vision, so that you can set that example, because there's nothing greater than he or she who overflows this vibration. It's not so much about going out and being like, you got to do it like this. It's more, I'm vibrating this frequency. I'm setting the most massive example. And here we go. And in that sense, we're regardless of how many numbers pop up on this screen, we're going to bring the message. We're going to bring the love, regardless of how many numbers pop up. And at the same time, we want more numbers. Share it. Share it, people. Invite your friends.
Yeah.
Yes, we are all for the peaceful protests. I think I'm going to go out tomorrow, either tomorrow or Sunday, and join the protests in LA. and be a part of that. So, and at the same time, this is our protest.
Yeah. This is how we serve.
All right, Jesse, I love you. I see you yawning.
I'm super sleepy. I
And it's
love you. I
9:32
love this
over here.
conversation. I'm so honored that these beautiful people have been with us. I'm yes. I'm a 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 yes.
Yes,
I'm a yes. I'm
yes.
a yes. I'm a yes.
So we'll keep this going. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Blessings to Joseph. Blessings to Erica. Continue to let us know how we can improve this. What more topics do you want us to talk about?
Yeah.
It has been such an
Very,
honor.
very welcome.
One love, one love.